Hi, you're listening to Listed by Mina Kuper. We're about real estate, trust, probate, divorce, and more. You're listening to 98.1 FM, 1220 AM. We're also on KHTS Hometown Station Facebook page. And if you don't use Facebook, you can also catch us on KHTS radio app. Today I have a really very interesting person on the show. She is very experienced. She's a PhD therapist, Kathy Memel, who has years and years of experience with the court system and dealing with divorce children. One of our most precious things in our lives, right? And Kathy comes from decades of experience as a psychotherapist, counseling, mediation, separation, divorce, child custody mediation, high conflict co-parenting, customized parenting plans. So, Kathy, I want to thank you for being on the show, and I want to thank you for all that you do because it's such a sensitive issue, and when people put their world in your hands, you're experienced and focused. You're not about the noise. You're about getting everybody in a good place, especially the children, because they need us adults to have a good voice and help guide them to a peaceful place. Thank you for joining us today.
Oh, thank you. I'm very happy to be here today, and my goal is to help provide you with some helpful tools in navigating the world of divorce and child custody.
That's wonderful. So when we talk about divorce, tell the audience, not me, and me, how long have you been in a PhD, doctorate psychotherapist in this arena, divorce and children and families, dealing with high conflict court situations or not? And how long, and what made you decide to go into this field? Because you really need thick skin. And, people can get really rowdy, if you will, in their own way when dealing with these situations. And sometimes, a little dangerous, right? I mean, it's a very, very sensitive issue. So what made you start, and how long have you been doing being a psychotherapist?
I've been doing this now for about 40 years. So when I got out of college, I went to go work for a family law attorney, and he taught me to be a paralegal in divorce. And so we handled 40 divorces a month for 5 years. And in every meeting, he had me sit in on it. So I got to hear what the clients had to say, and I got to hear the legal advice that he would give them. So I found it fascinating. And, a lot of people, they get married for different reasons. And out of those 40 divorces, I have to tell you that 5 people said, I got married because I fell in love and I thought it was going to work. Everybody else said, well, he was going to take me out of Nebraska. I wanted to travel the world. I married him because I fell in love and I wanted children. And then I found out after we were married, he didn't want children. So we're not really prepared in our world to handle what happens in divorce or what happens in marriage to begin with. We're taught science, we're English, we're taught history. Nobody talks about how to talk to another person, how to listen, how to deal with conflict, what happens when children come, all those major changes in somebody's life. So doing that kind of work, I learned a lot. And then I thought, I think I need to leave this field and go into something else. So that's what I really wanted to do, was study psychology. And I had my private practice for a couple of years. And then I thought when the HMOs hit, my practice was cut in half. And somebody said, gee, why don't you learn divorce mediation because you have all that divorce background. So little did I know that divorce background was going to come into play. So that's how I got started in it, and also worked at the courthouse. I volunteered for 2 years there, just doing nothing but parenting plans for parents going through divorce. So that was a wonderful experience that I brought into my private practice. So I love what I do, and I don't see it as negative. Some people will say, oh, my God, how do you do this? But I see it as an opportunity to help somebody go through these hurdles and then come out the other side and rebuild a new life.
And that's huge because, life is about experience. And when you're dealing with these issues, experience is super important because you've seen it all, I'm sure, And,
I still,
yeah. What's that?
I still see it all. It's always, there's
I
no
know.
everybody's different. Everybody's, just handles things differently.
And what's great is that you advocate for children and for parents to be human. And, so tell us when does someone seek out someone like yourself with high credentials?
They'll seek me out in different stages, whether they're thinking about divorce, whether they're planning to divorce, or they'll call me and say, my husband just left yesterday with a Post-it note on the refrigerator. I had no idea. So everybody's story is different. Other people say, you know what, we've been talking about this for a long time. We know what we want to do. We want to do this amicably. But when hurt feelings are involved, the logic goes out the window. So it's kind of like when I work with somebody, I like to see each person separately first so I can have uninterrupted time to really hear their story and really understand where they're coming from and why they're asking for what they're asking for, especially about their children.
Yes.
Okay, and then go ahead.
No, go ahead. I apologize. Yes.
In the second hour, what I do is I draw their family tree with them. And so we go back 3 generations, and I want to know everybody because then we understand the patterns of behavior that get passed on down through the generations. So once somebody understands why they got to this place in their life, they then have the opportunity for change. If you don't understand it, you keep repeating it. I have a client who's on his 4th wife, same personality. Yells and screams, throws things, temperamental, and this is the 4th wife. Once we got to his family tree, his mother was like that, his grandmother was like that, and what happens is we unconsciously are drawn to a personality that we want to fix. So we think, okay, I'm going to be really nice to this woman, and she's going to be great back to me, which I didn't get from my mother or my grandmother. But what happens is it's a replay of their childhood all over again.
And it's comfortable because they grew up feeling this, and then they do it again and again and again. It's a comfort feeling, right? People are
it's comfortable with the known
dysfunction.
It's a known entity because they don't like it. They don't understand why they're unhappy.
Right. They don't like it, but it's a known. That's very well put. It's a known entity, right? I know this.
Yes, it's familiar. So we're drawn to familiar. So a woman who grows up with an alcoholic father says, I'm never going to do this. Oh, my God, if I learned from this experience. She grows up, she goes to a party with 25 people there. She meets this guy. He's charming. He's wonderful. And 6 months later, he's drinking heavily.
Right.
And she thinks, how did that happen?
How did that happen? Right. It's peeling the banana.
Exactly.
You get the same banana. You know.
Yes.
I mean, we're all guilty of it, including myself and everyone else I talk to, unless you're so conscious of it. Because something that is not familiar may feel strange initially, right? Right? I'm kind of weird, But if you can get out of the codependency, I assume, is that comfort feeling or the known feeling, right? That you need to get out of your comfort zone.
Yes, and that takes courage because we're used to doing something. Even if it's painful, that's what we know. But it takes a lot of courage to say, okay, I'm willing to open the door and learn something new.
Yeah, when I sold homes, I've dealt with attorneys and also I have a tax business. And, people will start arguing in front of me. Like, they get along, so we're okay. Well, we'll meet together. And they're in the middle of a divorce. And then one thing will trigger them, and I'm like, hey, guys, remember why we're here.
Right.
That's all I say. Just get back on track. Remember why we're here. And they're like, look at me, and they stop. I don't get into it. I just stop it. I am not a mediator. I'm a person that needs to get their job done in a fashion that is efficient, as if, being that I'm hired to do that. So I want to do my job. And so they understand that, and they stop, and I guess they continue at some other time. But, it's interesting. Sometimes I almost like them together, because then I don't have one person and they're bad-mouthing the other person, right? Because I don't want to give opinions, right? And so if they're together, I could just stop it.
Yeah. Well, you refocus, bring them back to what's important.
Refocus, right. And it's only one person. They just keep on going sometimes because the other person's not there and it's safe, right?
Yeah.
Which is fine, so just listen, a little bit, and just don't want to get into any details with them. But tell me, so when you go to court, do you still go to court for?
No, I don't go to court. I do mediations, and what that does is people, there are several ways people can get divorced that they're not aware of. I mean, people say, I'm going to get a divorce, and
right,
they have no idea.
Exactly, right.
Have no idea what.
Different things.
Yes, and I always say, going through a divorce is like going to Mars, and nobody tells you what Mars is like. And then and it's like, oh, my God. And they all agree. They go, yeah, it is like Mars.
Uh-huh.
So I tell them, here's your divorce options. If you don't have a lot of property and it has been a short marriage, they can sit down at their own kitchen table and plan out what they want to do, in terms of separating their assets and debts, how to share the and they can hire a paralegal to draft up the documents, which is very inexpensive, and then it's done. I don't advise people to do it on their own, because if you check the wrong box, it can come back to bite you. So you really want somebody who knows how to fill these documents out.
Right,
and then the next
clerks are filing these things, and they only see what they see. They're not evaluating it. They're just going to put it in that box, and it may not be the box you want to be in.
Exactly, yeah. And I've seen things come back from the court saying, sorry, this isn't right. And, they're already traumatized by just having to go through this.
Yeah.
And then the next one is mediation. So mediation is a cooperative rather than combative approach to settling disputes out of court. So as a couple, you can privately with a family law mediator and work through all aspects of the dissolution.
Right.
And you're staying in charge of everything, because all decisions are given by no judge is telling you this is what you have to do.
Right.
So that really...
Do they request you? Can they request you as a mediator?
Well, I frequently will co-mediate with a family law attorney, so people get the benefit of the psychological as well as the legal expertise. And if I do it on my own, I don't do the financial part. I send them to a mediation attorney who will handle the finances, because it's really factual. And I do the child custody and parenting plan mediation, because that's so emotionally charged.
Yes.
And we just take one step at a time and move at their pace. And sometimes they figure out in a few sessions. Some people need 10 or 15 sessions. And I don't judge that. Everybody's different. Everybody has their path to travel and to learn from.
Yeah, and, I think that people like yourself should be in a courtroom with the judge, because judges can come from a tort law, aviation law. They don't necessarily know family law.
No, they don't. And they're not, I don't think a lot of them are trained in the psychology. So they depend on other people to do that, and sometimes you get good ones, and sometimes you get challenged ones.
Because, they have their own emotional issues, and if they don't know how to separate when they're making such decisions, I would love to advocate for the court systems to at least get people that are well-equipped to handle such precious decisions when they have no training in family law. I don't know how that happens. It really becomes...
needs to be revamped. Yeah.
What's that?
I said a lot of things need to be revamped everywhere in our world today, and family law is one of them. But I know some wonderful lawyers. I know some wonderful mediators. And I've met ones that just really don't care. So, you get the gamut in any kind of field, whether it's a policeman, whether it's a businessman. Some people are very highly ethical. Some people go down the middle. But I always keep in mind what's in the best interest of the children.
Right. And so that's why it is so important to have someone like yourself who comes with all these credentials and experience, because, they get caught in, it's like having a foot doctor tell you if you should have your kids on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday and make a decision that can change your whole life and your children's lives, and that's so scary to me. I don't understand how that all happened. There was enough family people, to, quite honestly, I think people like yourself should be making decisions. I don't think the judge should make a decision.
Well, you know what?
They come from a different place.
Well, most parents know their children best. And also, when I do a parenting plan, I customize it for that family. So if they're in high conflict, we might come up with a plan that, let's try it for 3 weeks. Let's see how the children do. Let's focus on what their needs are. Let's focus on how they're doing emotionally, psychologically. What mood do they come home in? What do they complain about? How often do you sit down with your child and ask about, how was your day? Tell me about your friends.
I find that when I talk to people, right, and a lot of times one person wants 50-50 custody, not because they want to be there for the kid. It's a financial thing, all that money, right?
Yes.
So if they had 30%, they really only wanted 20. They don't want to do it because they'll have to pay more money in alimony and child support. And they could be very unfit as a parent. And I find that is one of the hardest things to, everybody really at some point really wants both parents involved, right? But, it has to be somewhat healthy. No one's perfect, right? No one's going to be a perfect parent and just cater to every need. But that really needs to, be addressed and evaluated, psychological evaluations,
Yes. Some people do need evaluation. Yes.
So Kathy, yes.
And
we're going to have to break soon in a couple of minutes. So finish this, what you were going to say, and then let everybody know where they can reach you.
Oh, okay. I understand divorce also because my parents went through a divorce, and it was very contentious. I know what kids feel. I know what they feel. I'm happy to be here with you today.
I did not know that about you. And that's really a big teacher besides all the training and extensive background you have.
Yeah, you can't find everything in a book. Oftentimes you have to learn it and to teach somebody else. But my office number, I have a private practice in Beverly Hills. That office number is 310-286-9201, or you can reach me by email at info@drkathymemel.com. And Kathy is Kathy, Memel is M like in Mary, so it's MEMEL like in lady. So info@drkathymemel.com, and I'm happy to speak with somebody if they need help.
Kathy, I know people that have, attorneys that have worked with you, and they just say the best things about you.
Oh, thank you.
What I know of you and the relationship that we've, had, you're an amazing person too,
Oh,
and you really are a big support for these families, and I want to thank you for all you do.
Thank you. Thank you, Mina. And you are ace in your field as well.
Thank you. I try.
Yeah.
Just, like yourself. I like people. You have to like people.
Yes. And you do, and I do.
Yes, and that's a good start, right?
Yes.
Thank you so much, and I look forward to working together more.
Me too, Mina. Thank you very much. Bye, everybody.
Right. Bye. Hi, you're listening to Listed by Mina Kuper. We're about real estate, trust, probate, divorce, and more. And you're listening to 98.1 FM, 1220 AM. You can also watch us on the KHTS Hometown Station page on Facebook, or you can also download the app in KHTS Radio app store and listen to us there. We're on every Thursday from 12 to 1. And our focus is the solutions of relationships because they can get complicated and there are many twists and turns, and someone who's going through change. It's a good way to put it. And I have some amazing guests on my show that I know personally that are just amazing as what they do and who they are as people, the authenticity that they bring to the table. And today I have Catherine Ford from the She's a women's empowerment expert, and she owns the Excellence Institute. She has been featured on television. She's an author. She's written books. I've met some of her clients, and I personally have known Catherine for probably about a decade now, as an individual, as a person, and met people she's worked with professionally, and she changes lives, and the power of intention is so huge that it just works like magic. Your mindset, what you want to be clear. So, Catherine, I want to thank you for being on the show today because I know you're super busy, and I loved listening to all the people you've worked with at your the what you do.
The Champagne and Chic event, yes.
Yeah. The champagne had nothing to do with it. We were learning. There's no euphoria from champagne, but this was really heartfelt. We had people fly in that moved out of the country as a state just to be with us and to be so thankful to have shifted where they are today and from where they came from. Right.
Oh, exactly. Well, thank you for having me, Mina. It's great to be here with you. Yes, I'm very passionate about my work in the world, and it was great that you could be at my last event, Champagne and Chic. It was a lot of fun, and it was great to hear just so many women just being able to share their journey with other women, really going from a place of, just this place that didn't feel so great, whether that was with, their journey with uncoupling or their health journey or financial journey, and really turning all that around and soaring and stepping into something that is fabulous. And so, that's what I do. I design incredible next chapters for women who are ready to make the rest of their life the best of their life.
And you, so tell us, how people find you. Tell us about the process. Someone is listening to us now and says, I do need a change. I'm kind of on this treadmill, and I'm not getting off, right? I'm on the same treadmill, and I'm not getting off. I need to get off. How do I do this? Tell me the process of working with you.
Oh, yes. Well, that's what I specialize in, as you know. And it is really first off noticing, wow, I've been on this treadmill and I know that I'm meant for more. That is first and foremost the step that you want to take, is realizing that this is not the life that I was hoping to live, want to live, et cetera. I know that I'm meant for so much more. And women can find me at excellenceinstitute.com. And certainly they can peruse the website and see what I'm all about. But that's essentially what I do, is I take a woman, meet her where she's at, whether she is uncoupling, as I said, or experiencing something with her health and well-being, or with her time and money freedom. Maybe it's her career, her work in the world. And we start where she's at, and I stretch her imagination into what she would love those three areas of her life to look like, actually. Even though one is her major initiative, we focus on the whole woman. And then I take her through a process that I've developed, an incredible next chapter 3-step process that it really involves connecting with her divine feminine. So we do a lot of work around divine feminine freedom. And then we step into a rich relationship blueprint, and we follow that with radical vibrancy. And one of the things that's really fun, Mina, is the fact that a lot of women will notice that they actually begin to look and feel younger. I call it a fountain of youth, because they're loving their life, right? They've taken a quantum leap. Their life, my goal is to really have them say, wow, you have changed the complete trajectory of my life, and it looks like nothing like where I came from. That's really the goal, is to step into the most amazing life you could even imagine. No matter what you've been through or are currently facing, it's possible for all of us. And I've done it for myself, truly gone from tragedy to triumph in my own life. So this is where I've developed the tools, based on my own story. So, yeah.
Yes, you've been through a lot in where you come from. As I always say, unfortunately, experience is the best teacher, right? You can only, talk about it, and the experience changes you.
Exactly.
And you were the chosen one. And
yes.
had you been not in this position, then maybe it wouldn't have taken you to help so many others, right?
Exactly.
So one door closes, one door opens. That's the old saying. As unfortunate and traumatizing certain situations could be, but sometimes that's how the universe works, right?
Exactly.
Because when I saw those women at the chic party event, it was just, they were glowing. I was like, wow. They were when they told their story, where they came from and how confused they were, and if you don't know what you want, you can't go in any direction. You kind of stop, right?
That's right.
I think people think about it, and then they gravitate back towards another place, and then kind of they emotionally exhaust themselves, and they end up nowhere else, right? So
yes,
I know you.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
Our minds are just not really programmed. Our brains aren't programmed to help us take a quantum leap. And that's where I come in. I really help women get in there and release limiting beliefs and paradigms that we've had since our childhood. And they quietly control our entire life. And we up-level self-worth and all of these different, aspects I bring in so that we can literally release that stuff that is no longer serving us, and some of it never did. And then we download a new operating system, is what I like to say. And when we do that, all of a sudden, your entire life begins to change. You meet different people. You come into different circumstances, opportunities. And that's what's so exciting. When a woman starts to work with me, I tell her, I am going to introduce you to a you haven't even met yet. That's how exciting this is. It's really phenomenal. And especially when a woman is going through a process like uncoupling, divorce, that kind of thing, the mental load is tremendous. There's a lot of
and then the women usually get the children thing, right? They're more in that space, right?
Exactly.
So somehow it organically, naturally, most of the time, ends up being on the woman's plate.
Exactly. Yes. And so I do have attorneys that will actually, family law attorneys that will refer clients to me. And they always say they can tell such a difference when a woman is working with me, because I have her, yes, she has to deal with the uncoupling and the divorce process and all the legalities and all of that. But I have her focused on her next chapter. And that makes all the difference in the world. When she is also creating and stepping into the next most expansive version of herself, it truly does make all the difference.
Oh, you get a second chance at life, And,
exactly.
People need to act. They freeze up and life passes them by, and you deserve it. You deserve to treat yourself to a better life.
Oh my gosh, yes, exactly. And it's there for each and every one of us, but it is important to find the right person to work with. Support is critical during this time.
It's critical.
It really is, because again, the way that we're hardwired to the familiar, and we don't see our own blocks, it's really important to be with somebody that you connect with that is a professional in this area, because they can really help you to soar very, very quickly. Otherwise, like I said, we're taking the wrong step this way, and then our mind wants to pull us back to the familiar because
Right.
it speaks to us in practicality, right? Our subconscious speaks to us in practicality. Oh, I don't have enough of this. I don't have enough education, or I've never done this before, or it's going to cost too much, or it's going to take too much time. All of that holds us back, actually.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just because when you're in shock mode, right?
Exactly.
It's kind of like you're jumping through hoops. And I know your events, the ones that are more elaborate, are really cool. Like you have destination events.
Mm-hmm. And we do.
Right.
I do retreats here at the beach in Santa Monica, and so I work with clients all over the United States and some international as well. So women will fly in, and it's just a great community. It's really wonderful because you're surrounded by like-minded women who are also creating their next chapter. It might not look exactly like yours, but there's this commonality and this shared language, and everyone is supporting each other, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful vibration to be surrounded in. And we are, the average of studies show, the 5 people we spend the most time with. And the women that I work with are always so grateful to be a member of Excellence Institute because friendships are made, and even some business is done from time to time, of course.
Yeah, I mean,
women
why
meet
not?
each other.
That's what it's not always, about a relationship, a personal relationship. It could be you're stuck in business. You're kind of chasing your own tail, and that has to do with your output, right? There's that energy. We're all about energy. Like the woman that flew in from Belize, she had a shift in job, right? And she ended up doing what she always wanted to do. And, at middle-aged, to do that. And she found the strength through you to be able to get what she wanted.
Exactly. She was living here in the States and wanted to move to Belize, and she had some things happen in her life. And, I was just right there with her, walking her journey with her and wrapping my arms around her. And she is so thrilled right now to be living in Belize, working remotely. She's so successful. That's another thing I help women do is really work smarter rather than harder. I have all of my clients, as soon as they begin working with me, sign up for Easy World, where everything is easy.
I like it. Easy World. I love it. Love it.
Yes.
Love it. Love it.
We are over. We are all done with lack, pain, and struggle, and we are on the Easy Channel. And so this particular woman's name is Janine, and she was just like all about the Easy World. She's like, oh, that feels so good. And so we got connected really quickly with Easy World and her vibration, and just, we were able to bring in more than she even thought could ever be possible for her.
Amazing.
And it's thrilling. Yeah.
Yeah. And, especially, you have children and they see you go through transformation because they pick up your vibes, even, you're not complaining in front of them. But they pick up when you're not happy. They know when you're frustrated. Children are very sensitive. They're like dogs, right? They sense it. And, when you make this transformation, you're helping not only yourself, but everyone around you.
Absolutely. I hear that over and over again as far as just women setting a great example for their children in what is possible when you've gone through some adversity and how to come out on the other side shining more brightly than ever. I hear that over and over and over from the women that I work with, is that they're just, being able to be really great examples for their own children.
Yeah, and then that's huge because that takes the weight off of, oh my God, what are they going through? Because as a mom, you're always thinking about that, right? What are they going through? You're trying to put yourself in their shoes, or you're so wrapped up in what's going on that's not available.
Yes.
But we're going to take a break in a minute, and I'm going to ask you to stay on with me, Catherine, because I just love your energy, just for me.
Thank you, Tina.
It's great. I mean, it's great. You shine like a star.
Oh,
so,
thank you.
Yeah. So, okay, we're going to take a break, audience, and we will see you back in a few minutes. Hi, welcome back. You're listening to Listed by Mina Kuper, 98.1 FM, 1220 AM, KHTS Radio, hometown station page on Facebook, or if you don't use Facebook, you can go to the KHTS app, radio app, and download the station there and listen to us. Every Thursday from 12 to 1, I have amazing guests. We're about real estate, trust, probate, divorce, dissolutions of relationships, and becoming better for yourself, right? At the end of the day, because this is all a lot of noise for everybody. And that's why I have Catherine Ford on the line with me, because that's what she does. And I've seen people transform into these human beings that they've always wanted to be, these women that were strong and powerful, and something happened, right? Either they just, there was a trigger for them, right? But that trigger made them shine like a light, right? Bright and come out. And Catherine has amazing forums for women to connect with other women. So, Catherine, how many countries you're in now? And I know you did some recent talk shows on the radio and everything on TV.
Yes. Well, my Be Well Daily affirmations are in about 18 different countries, so that's exciting.
Yeah.
Women love them. I get emails all the time about how much, they connect, and that's the first thing that they look for, because they drop in your inbox Monday through Friday, and you can certainly also, they're my gift to the world. So you can sign up for those if you'd like on my website, excellenceinstitute.com. But most recently, I was interviewed by Maria Menounos, and we had a fabulous time. Oh, my gosh, she is an amazing woman. And we just talked all things living your best life and stepping into, vibrant health and well-being and rich relationships, and then having that freedom of time and money, which, of course, part of my Easy World piece that I was just talking about before our break really comes into play there. So, I've done lots of different things, and I'm just so passionate about getting my message out into the world because of my own story and what I've been through. And I know that if I can do it, anyone can. If I can transform every area of my life, really going from tragedy to triumph, anyone can. And so, it's an incredible. I know myself. I look back and think, I need a telescope to look back to see how far I've come.
It's surreal, right? It's surreal. And you're like, want to pinch yourself. You're like,
it is surreal.
I am in such an amazing place, and you're remarried to a wonderful man.
To a wonderful man.
Supportive. And he's supportive of you, and he looks at you like you're an angel. And I love
amazing.
That,
Yeah, he really is
nice.
Amazing.
But that is who you attracted, right? You attracted that. You didn't attract some guy who just wants to be all about himself and wants to, shine. And then just wants a person just to be there,
Yeah. Well, and I did have quite a tragic first marriage. So I knew that I needed to do a lot of inner work to be ready to attract the right type of man in my life.
Right.
I work with a lot of women on that as well, coming out of a divorce or uncoupling.
Right. Not to repeat the same party.
Right. Because that's what we can do. We absolutely can.
So, Catherine, what's a great way for people to reach you? Of course, we're on Facebook and the radio app, and you can swing back in there if you want to answer questions. People can ask questions there on the KHTS Hometown Station Facebook page. What's a good way for people to reach you?
I think the best way is to go out to my website, excellenceinstitute.com. That's EXCELLENCE, institute.com. They can also call my office, and that is 310-450-9993. And, I would say check the website out, see what I'm all about. I'm also on Instagram, Twitter, do a lot more on Facebook and Instagram, though. So those are great places to connect with me. And Sign up for those free Be Well Daily Affirmations. I have fantastic, as we've been talking about, champagne and chic events that are just amazing. And you can sign up on my website to be notified when those are taking place, because those are super fun. And, and if you're interested in the possibility of working with me, you can fill out an application online. We'll review it. And if you're selected, my concierge will schedule time to meet with me, just to answer questions and that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I adore you. Big hugs. And
I adore you too.
I look forward to more and getting more women together, and we're expanding into Arizona, and I just love it, and people are going to be shining out there too. So, again, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. This has been so much fun.
Yes. Have a great rest of the day, Catherine.
You too.